Welcome back to Mount Olympus, where the immortals gather and the truth finally gets aired. Today, we open a chapter close to my own heart because, and I say this with appropriate modesty, the man at the center of it is my son.
Appropriate modesty. Two words that have never once shared a room with you, dear.
Please welcome to the table the king of Crete, lawgiver of the Aegean, master of the greatest maze ever built, Minos.
Thank you, Father. Though I notice you introduce me by my maze and not by my laws, which tells me exactly which story this table wants to hear.
He read the room before he sat down. I like him already.
Sit, dear. You're welcome here. Can I get you anything? We have honey wine, we have figs. The war can wait until after you've eaten.
That is the kindest anyone has spoken to me in 3,000 years, Demeter. I'll take the figs. I have a feeling I'll need them.
Before we get too cozy, I want it on the record from the very first minute. A lot of what happened to this man happened because of me, and I'd like credit for that.
You want credit for a curse, Poseidon? Sit with that for a moment.
Perhaps we start where the trouble started, and not where everyone would like the blame to land. Minos, how did you become king at all?
When my mother Europa died, Crete was up for grabs. My brothers and I all had a claim. So I told the people the gods themselves had chosen me. And I said I could prove it.
And he could because his father is the king of Olympus. Frankly, the throne was his birthright. I don't know why he felt he needed a stunt.
Because a birthright you can't see convinces no one, Father. So I stood on the shore and I prayed to Poseidon. I asked him to send a bull up out of the sea, a sign no rival could argue with.
And I did. Do you have any idea what it takes to push a living bull up through the surf without drowning it? Precision, artistry.
It came out of the water white as sea foam, not a mark on it. The whole beach fell to its knees. In one morning, every claim against me evaporated.
And there was one small condition attached to this beautiful favor, wasn't there?
I had vowed to sacrifice the bull back to Poseidon. Immediately. That was the whole arrangement. He lends me the sign. I return it to him in smoke.
The whole arrangement. He said it himself. And what did the king of Crete do with my bull?
God, I kept it.
There it is. The apple does not fall far from the storm cloud.
You don't understand what it was. I put a common bull on the altar instead and told myself Poseidon wouldn't notice the difference. But the white one, I couldn't burn it. It was too perfect to destroy.
See, that I understand completely. When something magnificent comes into your life, you don't just throw it on a fire. You appreciate it.
Is that what we're calling your track record now? Appreciating magnificent things. I have a list, Zeus. It's long, and several entries had horns.
He swapped my bull for a farm animal and thought I'd shrug. I am the sea, Minos. I count every drop that touches my shore. You think I can't count one bull?
You broke a promise made at an altar, Minos. Not to a rival, not to a neighbor, to the god who lifted you onto your throne. That is a wound with a long memory.
I know that now. At the time I thought, he got his sacrifice, near enough, and I got my sign. Everybody's paid. I was a young king. I thought power meant the terms bent for me.
Power means the terms bend for you right up until the moment they snap back. I meet a lot of kings who learned that. They're very quiet by the time they reach me.
So I decided he would learn it too. But here's the thing about me that people forget. I don't do the obvious revenge. I don't sink his fleet. That's amateur work.
No, you went for the family. You always go for the family. You see gods have no imagination beyond someone's household.
I made his wife, Queen Pasiphae, fall in love with the bull, hopelessly, consumingly. That is poetry, Demeter. He loved the bull too much to burn it, so let him watch what loving that bull really costs.
A god punishing a man by ruining the woman standing next to him. Astonishing. I've never once seen that pattern before.
Pasiphae did nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing. She kept no bull. She broke no vow. My crime. And it landed on her mind and her body like a fever she couldn't sweat out.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that plainly. She is the one person in this entire tale nobody defends, and she is the one who deserved it most.
She came to me weeping, terrified of her own thoughts, begging me to help her. And I had no idea what to do. What do you do when a god has poured that into the person you love?
You could have gone back to the altar, Minos. You could have knelt, confessed, and burned the bull at last. That door was still open.
Didn't. I still couldn't part with the animal. Even then, even watching my wife come apart. I called for a craftsman instead of a priest. That is the sentence I have never been able to unsay.
Which craftsman? Because if I know this story, and I do, this is where a certain very clever, very dangerous man walks in.
Daedalus, the finest maker who ever lived, and I owned him. I told him to solve my wife's affliction. I did not ask how. I have learned to be very careful about the questions I don't ask.
You handed the worst problem of your life to your most brilliant servant and told him not to bother you with the method. That's not delegation, Minos. That's how you launder your own choices through someone else's hands.
He built her a cow, a hollow wooden cow, wrapped in real hide, so lifelike it fooled the bull itself. And he told my queen to climb inside it.
And it worked. Which, and I want to be careful how I say this, is a testament to the quality of the bull I provided. Even the wood wanted it.
Poseidon, read the room your brother's son is trying to survive at.
A god did this to her. I need everyone at this table to keep saying it out loud, because I have watched people turn Pasiphae into a punchline for 3,000 years, and she was a victim of him.
She carried it in silence. She knew what was growing, and when her time came, what she delivered was not a calf and not a child. It was both, and it was neither.
Say his name, Minos. He had one before he had a legend. Every child does.
Asterion. Starry One. That is what his mother named him before the palace started calling him the Minotaur, the Bull of Minos. My name hung around his neck like a brand.
The bull of Minos, not the son of Pasiphae, not the grandson of the sun, the bull of the man who caused all of it. Even the name blamed the wrong people.
Now, I'll say this, Oin Dandisum. A monster in the royal nursery is a genuine crisis. Every king's reputation lives or dies on his household looking clean. I sympathize with the impulse to hide it.
Yes, you would be the world's leading authority on hiding what happens in a royal household. Do tell us more about the impulse to hide it, Zeus.
He grew, and as he grew hungry for a kind of food no herd could satisfy. A creature that was half my wife's grief and half a god's revenge does not eat barley.
So he needed people. Let's not soften it with a kind of food. Your stepson ate men, and you had to decide what to do about that.
I could have killed him. Everyone assumes that's the mercy. Put the thing down. But he had my wife's eyes somewhere in that face, and I could not raise the blade. So I did the coward's kindness. I called Daedalus again.
And now we get to the maze. This is the part everyone actually tuned in for, so let the boy talk.
I ordered a prison that no one could ever leave, including the guards, including the truth. Daedalus built the labyrinth beneath the palace of Knossos. Corridors that fold into corridors. A place so cunning its own maker nearly could not find the way out.
You built a home for a child that was designed so the child could never come home. I have kept the hearth of every house on earth, Minos, and I have never seen its opposite until now.
That is exactly what it was. Hestia, you say things gently and they still go straight through the ribs.
I know something about a child taken down into the dark and a mother left howling above it. Where was Pasiphae in all this? Did she get to see him? Did anyone let that woman near her son?
No. I sealed him away, and I kept her from the gate. I told myself it was to spare her. It was to spare me. I could not watch her want to hold that thing.
And there he sits, in my ledger to this day, Asterion, cause of death, sealed in a maze by his own family and left to starve for company. He is one of the few residents who arrived relieved.
Don't tell me he was relieved.
I don't lie about my residence, Minos. It's the one courtesy the dead are always owed. He was.
Let's move things along. Because a maze with a monster in it is a very expensive thing to feed, and this is where my clever grandson monster's appetite becomes an international incident.
My son Androgeus, my human son, my heir, went to Athens for the games. He won everything, and Athens, out of jealousy, had him killed. So I did what a father does. I did what a king does. I brought my fleet across the water, and I brought Athens to its knees. And when they begged for terms, I named the terms.
And crossing that water was permitted by me, I'd remind everyone, because a fleet is just driftwood without my goodwill. But go on. The terms.
Every 9 years, Athens would send me 7 young men and 7 young women, 14 of their finest children, and I would feed them to the maize.
Say that again. Say it slowly. You took 14 children from their mothers every 9 years and walked them into the dark on purpose.
Yes,
I lost 1 daughter to the dark for 6 months of the year, and I turned the whole world to ice over it. I salted the fields. Nothing grew until I had her back. And you did it to 14 at a time, and their mothers had no Zeus to bargain for them.
there was no bargain for them. I know. Demeter, I am not going to sit here and tell you the harvest of children was justice. It was grief with a crown on, and I let it eat other people's sons the way the maize ate mine.
That may be the truest thing said at this table today. Grief with a crown on. You could not mourn Androgeus, so you made Athens mourn instead, in installments.
I'll give you this, Minos. At least you admit the crown was on your own head. Most of the men at this table blame the weather, their brothers, or a woman before they'll blame the reflection.
Is that aimed at me?
It's aimed at the general direction of the throne. If it landed somewhere specific, examine your conscience, not my aim.
I'd like to note, for the record, that those tributes came to me in batches. 7 boys, 7 girls, all at once, all young, all terrified, none of them ready. It was the only entry in my book that ever made my ferryman go quiet.
Did they? When they reached you, were they afraid?
They were children who died confused in the dark, Minos. Yes, but I'll tell you something I don't tell many. They were not angry at the monster. They understood the monster. They were angry at the man who built the door.
All right. I want to jump in because I feel this whole table drifting toward blaming Crete, and I started this. I did. The bull, the queen, the monster. That's my thread pulled tight. I'll own the seas part of it.
Poseidon, did the sea just take responsibility for something? Someone marked the day. The tide came in and brought a conscience with it.
I take responsibility for my parts loudly and often, thank you. I just usually have to shout over Zeus to be heard doing it.
Then own this part too, Sea King. You didn't curse Minos. You cursed Pasiphae's body and an unborn child's shape. The man kept his bull and his throne. The woman and the boy paid your bill.
When you put it in a straight line like that, it does land differently. I aimed at his pride and it went through everyone standing behind him. That's not the poetry I thought it was.
That is the nature of a curse aimed at a household, Poseidon. It never hits the one who wronged you. It hits the hearth. It always hits the hearth.
May I say something to you, Poseidon? Directly, God to man.
Go ahead. I've clearly earned whatever's coming.
I don't forgive the curse, but you were right to be angry. I stole from a god at his own altar and I dressed it up as cleverness. You didn't invent my crime. You just made sure I couldn't outrun it.
That's more honest than most of my worshippers ever managed. All right, Minos. The sea and I hear you.
Beautiful reconciliation. This is what the show is for. Now, can we please get to the hero? Because a story this grim needs a sword in it eventually.
The third tribute came, and among the 14 from Athens, there was a young man who had put himself on the ship on purpose. Theseus, son of the Athenian king. He came to end the maze from the inside.
A volunteer for the Labyrinth. In all my centuries, I've received exactly 1 man who walked toward the monster on purpose and expected to walk back out. He had help, of course. They always have help.
He had help. He had my daughter. Ariadne saw him step off that ship and she chose him over her own father in an afternoon.
Children do tend to choose against fathers who feed monsters, Minos. I've noticed it's rarely a difficult decision for them.
She went to Daedalus, my Daedalus, and she got the secret of the maze. A ball of thread. Tie one end at the door, unspool it as you go, and the labyrinth that traps everyone becomes a thing you can simply walk back out of.
Every prison you build, someone eventually keeps a receipt for the way in. Daedalus built the maze and Daedalus sold the exit. You should never trust a wall built by a man clever enough to want out himself.
Theseus went down into the dark with her thread in his fist. He found Asterion at the heart of it, and he did what I never could.
He killed your son.
He killed my son, a stranger, with my daughter's thread, using my craftsman's secret, ended the child my wife bore because of my broken vow. Every single instrument of that death was something I had put in the world myself.
You built the maze so no one could reach the center, and everything you loved formed a line, pointing straight at it. That is what a hidden thing does, Minos. It doesn't stay buried, it organizes everyone around itself.
And then he took Ariadne, and he sailed. My daughter left with the man who killed her brother, and the maze stood empty, and I had lost all of it. The bull, the son, the heir, the daughter, the wife, all of it, from one animal I couldn't put on a fire.
For what it's worth, and I'm the last one who gets to say this, Theseus didn't treat your girl much better. He left Ariadne on an island on the way home, sailed off without her.
I know, my daughter betrayed me and was betrayed in turn, all in one voyage. There's a symmetry to it I've had 3,000 years to hate.
And yet a god found her on that island. Dionysus took her up and made her his. So the one child in this story who walked toward love instead of the dark, she's the only one who got a soft ending. Remember that.
That is the only comfort in the whole account, Demeter, and I cling to it. My Ariadne is a bride of a god and a crown of stars. She got out. She's the only one who got out.
See, and this is why I wanted him here. My son suffered greatly, but look at the legacy. The most famous maze in all of creation, a hero-making saga, a constellation. That's not failure, that's an epic. That's my bloodline delivering.
Your bloodline delivered a curse, a monster, a child tax, and 2 betrayals. And you're standing on the wreckage calling it an epic. You could find a compliment for yourself at a shipwreck, Zeus.
I'm being supportive. Fathers are supposed to be supportive.
Father, with respect, I don't need you to make it an epic. I've spent 3,000 years listening to poets make it an epic. What I've never once had is someone let it be a tragedy.
Then let it be one, here, at this table. No one will polish it for you tonight, Minos. You have my word on that, and the hearth keeps its words.
I can offer something the poets can't. I know what happened to you after Crete. Would you like me to tell them? Or will you?
You tell it, Hades. You're the only one at this table who's seen me since. I'd rather they heard the ending from a judge than a king.
When Minos died, he came down to me like everyone does. But I did something with him I've done with almost no one. I gave him a bench. I made the man who broke one vow a judge of every soul, whoever broke any.
You made him a judge of the dead? The man who fed children to a maze? Hades, explain yourself, because from where I sit, that is a strange promotion.
Who judges greed better than a man ruined by it? Who weighs a broken oath more carefully than the king who learned, drop by drop, what one costs? I don't want the innocent on that bench, Demeter. I want the ones who paid.
I sit in the dark now, and I weigh other men's oaths for eternity. Every liar who comes before me is holding a white bull he couldn't burn. I know the exact weight of it. That's why Hades gave me the scales.
So the maze was never really the punishment. This is, you spend forever face to face with your own crime, wearing the robes of the one who forgives it in others.
Every single day, Hestia. And do you know the cruelest part? I'm good at it. I'm a fair judge. I never once managed to be a fair king. And now that no one can benefit, I'm just...
That got me. That actually got me. And I'm a body of salt water. The man learned mercy the day it stopped being any use to him. Oh, that's the tide going out on my chest right there.
My son, a judge of the dead, chosen by my own dour brother out of all the shades in the underworld. All right, that's a legacy I'll actually take quietly. That one I don't need to embroider.
The king of Olympus, silenced by pride in his son. I've waited eons for a sentence like that, and it took a minotaur to produce it. Worth every century.
He undersells himself, by the way. When those 14 Athenian children reached my gates, it was Minos, as judge, who insisted they be carried across the river first, ahead of every king and hero waiting. He said the young ones had waited long enough in the dark.
You did that. You put the tribute children first, the ones you sent.
It's the smallest thing, Demeter. It doesn't undo the gate. Nothing undoes the gate. But I could not send them into a second darkness, and so I don't. It's the one order I've never regretted giving.
It doesn't undo it, you're right. But a mother notices who carries her child gently, even late, even in the dark. I'll allow you that one, Minos, reluctantly, but I'll allow it.
Coming from you, that's the closest thing to absolution I've been offered in 3,000 years. I'll take it, and I won't argue the price.
You know what? I'll say it since I'm the reason he's here. Minos, if you ever want the sea calm for your ferry crossings, you send word. The tide owes your household one. Long overdue.
Careful, Sea King. Last time you did me a favor, it cost me everything I loved. I think I'll take my crossings rough and free. Thank you.
Ha! Fair, fair. That's the sharpest thing anyone's said to me all season, and it came from a mortal. I like this one. Zeus, your boy has teeth.
He has his father's mouth and his mother's spine. It's a survivable combination. Barely.
He has something better than either. He knows what he did, and he says it out loud without a single poet's flourish. Do you know how rare that is on my bench? I could staff the whole underworld with liars and never run short.
All right, before Hades recruits my son back to work, let's start bringing this in. Minos, what's the one thing you'd tell the mortals still telling your story?
That the monster in the maze was never the monster. Asterion didn't ask to be born and didn't ask to be hidden. The real labyrinth was the one I built out of a promise I wouldn't keep. And I put my whole family inside it.
That's it. That's the whole myth in one breath. The maze was only ever the shape of a lie he wouldn't stop telling. Everything with horns in this story was more honest than the man who caged it.
And say Pasiphae's name when you tell it, mortals, and Asterion's, not the queen and the monster. They were the two most blameless souls in the whole affair, and history gave them the ugliest names in it.
Asterion, Starry One, my wife's son. I'll say it as often as it takes to bury Minotaur for good. It's the least the man who named him for a bull can do.
You came in defending a throne, Minos, and you're leaving having buried a monster's slander. That's a better day's work than most kings manage in a lifetime.
And I came in demanding credit for a curse, and I'm leaving a little ashamed of it, which, for me, is basically a religious conversion. Don't tell anyone. I have a reputation.
Your secret drowns with the rest of them, brother. Minos, the bench is warm when you're ready. Take the long crossing. You've earned a slow one.
I'll see you at the river, Judge. Thank you, all of you. I've been the villain of this tale for 3,000 years. Today, for 1 hour, you let me be the man who's sorry. That's a mercy I didn't come expecting.
That's my son, and that's our episode. I'm Zeus, this has been Mount Olympus. And remember, Ervin Diakia, every maze in your life has a door you built yourself, so be very careful what you refuse to burn.
Keep your promises and keep your hearth. The two are the same thing in the end. Good night from the mountain.